What if I told you some of Hollywood's biggest stars turned down legendary roles and paid the price? From Will Smith rejecting The Matrix to Matt Damon walking away from $300 million, these actors made decisions that changed movie history. Some dodged a bullet, while others missed out on fame and fortune. Here are 7 actors who turned down legendary roles, with some regretting it for the rest of their life. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's dive in. What if I told you that Will Smith was almost Neo? In 1998, the Wachowskis approached Will Smith to star in The Matrix. But Smith, fresh off Men in Black, just didn't get their vision. Instead, he signed on for Wild Wild West, which, let's be honest, was a disaster. Meanwhile, The Matrix became a groundbreaking sci-fi masterpiece, turning Keanu Reeves into an icon. Years later, Smith admitted he had no regrets, saying he wouldn't have done as well as Keanu. But can you imagine a version of The Matrix with Neo dodging bullets while cracking Fresh Prince-style jokes? It's definitely one of the biggest what-ifs in Hollywood history. But The Matrix didn't just redefine action films. It also led to 2 sequels and a franchise worth billions. Smith missed out on one of the most influential roles ever. Instead, we got Wild Wild West, and we all know how that turned out. Would you have liked to see Will Smith as Neo? Let me know in the comments. Matt Damon lost out on $300 million. Yes, you heard that right. James Cameron personally offered Matt Damon the lead role of Jake Sully in Avatar, but Damon was busy finishing The Bourne Ultimatum and turned it down. The role then went to Sam Worthington, who was relatively unknown at the time. Here's where it hurts. Cameron also offered Damon 10% of the film's box office profits. And since Avatar made $3 billion, that means Damon walked away from $300 million. That's probably one of the biggest financial mistakes in Hollywood history. Years later, Damon admitted he deeply regretted it, joking, "I've left more money on the table than any other actor." But hey, at least he still has The Martian, Good Will Hunting, and the Bourne movies, right? But let's be real, turning down Avatar and $300 million, that's gotta sting. Emily Blunt was almost an Avenger. Before Scarlett Johansson became the iconic Black Widow, the role was originally offered to Emily Blunt. Marvel wanted her for Iron Man 2, and she was ready to accept it. But there was a huge problem. She was under contract for Gulliver's Travels, a film that flopped hard. Meanwhile, Scarlett Johansson took on the role, and Black Widow became a major part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 9 films, billions at the box office, and even a solo movie. All of that could have been Emily Blunt's, along with an estimated $100 million. Years later, Blunt admitted she was disappointed but doesn't regret it. She still became a huge action star, thanks to movies like Edge of Tomorrow and A Quiet Place. But imagine if things had gone differently. Would Emily Blunt have made a better Black Widow? Or is Scarlett Johansson the one true Natasha Romanoff? Back in the early 2000s, George Lucas personally met with Leonardo DiCaprio to offer him the role of Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars: Attack of the Clones. But DiCaprio turned it down, saying he wasn't ready for that kind of responsibility. The role went to Hayden Christensen, and let's be honest, fans had mixed feelings. Meanwhile, DiCaprio focused on Catch Me If You Can and Gangs of New York, setting himself up for an Oscar-winning career. But imagine if Star Wars had Leonardo DiCaprio as Anakin instead. Would the prequels have been better? Would we have gotten a more intense, Oscar-worthy performance? Or would it have changed DiCaprio's career for the worse? One thing's for sure, he dodged a bullet when it came to the backlash Hayden Christensen faced. But still, what could have been? What do you think? Would DiCaprio have made a better Anakin? Sean Connery was the first choice to play Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings, and the studio didn't just offer him the role, They offered him $30 million plus 15% of the total box office profits. That means he would have made over $450 million just for playing this role. But Connery turned it down because he didn't understand the script. The role went to Ian McKellen, who delivered an unforgettable performance, and The Lord of the Rings went on to become one of the most successful trilogies in cinema history. Years later, Connery admitted he had no regrets, but $450 million is hard to ignore. Would Connery have been a great Gandalf? Or was Ian McKellen the perfect choice? Al Pacino in Star Wars? It might sound crazy, but Al Pacino was originally offered the role of Han Solo in Star Wars: A New Hope. At the time, he was already a huge star thanks to The Godfather, and George Lucas thought he'd be perfect. So why did Pacino say no? Well, he didn't understand the script. Years later, he joked, "I gave Harrison Ford a career." And he's not wrong. Ford went from being a struggling actor to a Hollywood megastar, thanks to Han Solo and Indiana Jones. By refusing that role, Al Pacino walked away from an estimated $100 million in total. Pacino went on to have an incredible career, but can you imagine a version of Star Wars where Han Solo has a New York accent? Here's looking at you, Chewie. Okay, maybe not. At the end of the day, Harrison Ford was the perfect Han Solo. But would you have liked to see Pacino in the role? John Travolta was the first actor offered the role of Forrest Gump, but he turned it down. He didn't think the film would be a success, so he passed on it. And, well, we all know what happened next. Tom Hanks took the role, won an Oscar, and Forrest Gump became one of the most beloved films of all time. It grossed $678 million worldwide and won 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Travolta later admitted he regretted the decision, but at least he had a huge comeback that same year with Pulp Fiction. So while he missed out on Forrest Gump, he still ended up in one of the most iconic movies of the 90s. But can you picture a version of Forrest Gump where John Travolta is running across America saying, "Mama always said, life is like a dance floor. Maybe it wouldn't have worked after all." That concludes this video of 7 actors who turned down legendary roles. Let me know in the comments what topics you would like me to cover for a future video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support this channel. I'll see you in the next one.